How are we, boys and girls? Welcome to the Going Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Braam Hein, creating koala on all social medias, and here we'll be deep diving on all things health and wellness related. First try again. I'm getting nice at this. I feel very high up in this chair. Do I look high up in this chair? I don't know. Did I wear this shirt before? I think I did. But anyway, that's fine. Life update. People don't think I'm Australian. I know my friend's going to make fun of me for this, especially one of you. I know who you are, and you're probably watching this, and I don't like you. I do. Anyway, but I was at a party last weekend, and there was a girl there who is Australian. I have a girlfriend. She's one of my girlfriend's friends. And she was, she's from Australia, and she's like, oh, have you been? And I was like, yeah, you could say that. She's like, oh my God, where did you go? I was like, Canberra, I've been to Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast a few times. She's like, oh, that sounds fun. And then my girlfriend was like, yeah, he's from Australia. She's like, oh my God, I couldn't tell. I'm like, fuck, no. Anyway, that's fine. Also, I need to take less caffeine. I've been taking too much caffeine recently. Yeah, it's getting really bad. My tolerance is probably around 600 milligrams, and that's when I'm feeling okay. I need to stop that. The other day, I was kind of shaking a little bit. I was like, Jesus, I need to stop. I need to just drink black coffee, and that's it. Not energy drinks, and limit myself to maybe 2 cups a day, maybe. But regardless, we're moving on. We'll move on with life. Ball up top, as they would say. Also, the AD trade to the Mavs. Okay, here's my thing. If you're the Mavs and you see Luka Doncic and you're like, well, this guy doesn't work hard. There's 2 things that are going on. He either actually is a hard worker and he's achieving what he's achieving, which is arguably one of the best players in the world and could be one of the best players ever on this trajectory that he's on right now. And you don't trade that guy. And number 2, if he isn't working that hard and he's still achieving this, you don't trade that guy, because imagine if he does start to lock in, then he can't not be the greatest player ever. You know what I mean? So it's just a whole weird thing. Anyway, that's my little spiel on that. I love Luka. He's a great basketball player. Does whine a bit? Sure. It doesn't take away from the fact that he's a great basketball player. And it's just rough. Because why would you trade him? I don't know. Anyway, back to what's important. Yeah, it is important, but yeah. The topic of today's episode, it's just going to be an absolute masterclass on protein. Because do I know too much about protein? Yes. Am I going to tell you about all of it? No, I'm going to tell you about the important parts. The parts that really do matter, and why I believe protein is the king of everything. Not everything, but at least the king of... It's one of the pinnacles of health, I believe. It's just because there's just so many studies and so much data that can back that statement in itself, which is insane to say that it's such a broad statement and such a serious statement can be backed up with so much evidence. But I'm also going to get 2 things out of the way first. 3 things, actually. 1, protein does not make you bulky. I've heard that before. Especially females be like, I don't want to eat too much protein. I don't want to get too bulky. In a sense, it could actually be the opposite of that. But I'll get to that later. And 2, protein doesn't cause kidney damage. I've heard that before. I don't want to eat too much protein. It's going to hurt my kidneys. Unless you have a predisposition to kidney diseases and kidney failure, which is very rare, or a kidney infection or something like that, protein is not going to affect the kidneys. Unless you eat unless you're 150 pounds and eat 300 plus grams of protein a day, that could, because there's just an overconsumption of protein, which is very hard to do. It's extremely hard to overeat protein, which I'm always going to get to. But that's just not going to happen. And also, the last one, I'm going to preface everything because I'm going to say a lot of positives about protein, but it's not the ultimate fixer. It's a gateway to fixing a lot of things. But if you don't have everything else in check as well, like everything, if you don't have sleep, training, the other parts of nutrition in check, it's not going to fix everything. That's just what I'm going to preface everything with, okay? But now we'll get into the meat and potatoes. Mainly the meat, though. Sorry, I had to. But, okay, so as everyone probably knows, protein is what is in your muscles. Protein is the building block of muscles. It helps build muscle, it helps repair muscle from injury, damage, whatever. It's necessary to eat protein to maintain or build a new muscle. So if you're in a deficit, it's necessary to maintain the muscle that you have, and in some cases even build new, but that's rare unless you're new to lifting or coming back from a hiatus from lifting and picking back into it. That you can build muscle while losing weight. But if you're a more experienced lifter or you're a more experienced athlete in general, if you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to build a lot of muscle. You might maintain strength. It's going to help you maintain strength heavily because protein is a building block of muscle, and strength is based on not muscular size, but muscular neural pathways. Neural pathways are, I'm going to get into a little tangent here. Strength is based upon how efficient your body is at turning on its muscle fibers and turning through like neural pathways. That's what strength is. That's why you can see a guy who's massive, really, really big, and he can lift a lot of weight, but someone who is smaller than him could lift more potentially like a power lift. The power lifters aren't usually massive, but their bodies are very, very, very efficient at switching on that neural pathway to make you strong. That's why guys like the best example that I like to give is NBA players. They don't look like incredibly strong people, but they're freaking strong, like incredibly strong. Like someone like Derrick Jones Jr., he's very thin. Well, he's not very thin. He's just thin, but he's also like 6'9", whatever. He's just a thin human being compared to other NBA athletes like LeBron or Dwight Howard. Pause. I don't know why I paused there, but if you know, you know. But Derrick Jones Jr. can squat a shit ton of weight. He doesn't look like he can, but he can. Because it's also why he's so explosive, because he can turn, like his muscular power and strength is out of this world for the muscle that he has. So it's essential protein is essential for that muscle, for the muscle. Sorry, I went on a tangent there, but protein is essential to build or repair muscle from damage, from training, from any type of injury that you have. It is essential for that, okay? Protein has the highest thermic effect of food. So what is thermic effect? Thermic effect means, well, the thermic effect of any type of food is how much energy it takes to burn a certain amount of calories. Your body. Sorry, I should preface that. So when you intake food, it doesn't just immediately get digested and used. It has to be broken down first into its simplest form, and then it's going to get broken down eventually into just glucose or just energy, right? All food does, contrary to popular belief. And protein has the highest out of all the major food groups, which are protein, carbohydrates, and fats, lipids, triglycerides. Sorry. But it has a 20 to 35% ratio of burning compared to something like carbohydrates or fats, which are like 5 to 15, like 15% of fats and like 5 carbohydrates. It doesn't take a lot of energy to digest carbohydrates. That's why you can have them pretty close to training and you can use them quickly. That's why it's also the concept of fast digesting carbs. That's why you have them, because they're fast digesting. It doesn't take a lot of energy to digest. But that's why you also don't want to eat something that's heavier in protein before working out, because it's taking a lot of energy to digest. So your body isn't efficient at using what it's meant to for the exercise, and it's spending too much time digesting. But that's good outside of working out, because you don't want it. It's going to help you burn more calories throughout the day. The studies have shown that you can burn 80 to 100 more calories just in a day, just by eating 50% more protein. There was one study that showed that there's like a high protein diet versus a low protein diet, and the high protein group burned 260 more calories on a daily basis, just like their metabolic rate. So like your total daily energy expenditure is mainly, the majority of it is based on metabolic rate, so just your body just existing. And then there's exercise. Oh my God, I'm blanking. Exercise, thermic effect of food. There's no way that I'm forgetting what the other one is. NEAT, Jesus Christ. How did I forget that? Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's the second highest one. So that's just like walking around, fidgeting, daily tasks, whatever. That's embarrassing. I literally said that in class the other day. Anyway, so adding more protein to your diet, especially if you want to lose weight, is going to help you lose more weight, because you're just going to burn more energy naturally by the more protein that you eat. It's not a lot. Obviously, like 100 calories isn't a lot, but it adds up. If you do that every day, that's a lot. You know what I mean? Especially the more protein you eat. Obviously, there's extents to it where it's just not very viable to get the calories from just protein. Like you need carbohydrates and fats. You definitely need fats. Definitely need carbohydrates for performance. If you don't care about performance, carbohydrates aren't incredibly necessary. They are necessary. I take back what I said. They're necessary because you need energy, but you don't need to have as many. Okay, moving on. Satiety. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient. If you eat a lot of protein, you will feel very full. Again, because of the digestion, just because it slows down digestion heavily, and it's really hard to overeat. If you're ever like really hungry and you don't want to eat a lot of and if you're trying to prevent yourself from over consuming calories, if you just eat lean protein, not even that, if you just eat protein, if you eat a ground beef, chicken, shrimp, Greek yogurt, I don't know why I said it like that, but eggs, those kinds of things, it's going to be really hard to overeat on those things. You can't eat a lot of that. Like if you eat a pound of ground beef, if you eat a pound of chicken, if you eat 7 eggs, I don't know why I picked 7. It's going to be really hard to want to eat more after that. So I utilize that a lot. Sometimes I'll just have literally a pound of ground beef and maybe a little bit of rice for lunch, and I'm cooked. it is so satiating, it's so filling, which is on a cusp, or if you're trying to lose weight, is very, very efficient. Or if you're just trying in a pinch and you really just need to eat something, that is the best way to do it. Basically how I think about it is to do with cravings, especially. If you're craving something, I would pair it with protein, eat the protein first. Because you might just be a little bit hungry. You might even be dehydrated. That's another topic that I'm going to cover, whatever. But if you eat the protein first and then you're full and you're still craving that thing, then you could probably still eat that thing, probably a little bit less of it. But if you eat the protein and you're not hungry at all, you're not craving anything else, you would just like, you want that desperate for the thing, you were just hungry. Does that make sense? So utilizing protein to combat hunger cues and kind of reset your mindset towards cravings like that is very, very important. And it's very, very useful, especially it's for satiety reasons, for feeling full, for trying to not overeat or anything else. Protein will always be by far the best option. Fat is second, because they're slow digesting. Carbs are last, because you can overeat carbs very easily and kind of do it in a blink of an eye. You can eat a packet of, think about it, you can eat maybe like 5 packets of like fruit snacks or like gummies and have a full meal within 3, like back to back pretty easily, and that's like 400 calories worth of straight carbs. If that makes, like, it's really easy to just add carbs to things, which is why if you're trying to gain weight, carbs are very easily added to a lot of diets, and you can just add, it's like if you're cutting diet and cutting or losing weight diet and your bulking / gaining weight diet can be very similar. You just add more carbs to this to make it this. Like, it's not that, it's pretty simple. Anyway, now this section, I'm just going to kind of go through the health benefits that have been shown. Those are the 3 kind of main, the ones I just briefly talked about are the main things that people mention when talking about protein. And I think a lot of people talk about these specific things. So I wanted to cover these because I feel like these are very, very important and just more reasons to eat more protein. So shout out to my diabetics out there. One of them's watching. Protein consumption slows down the absorption of glucose. It slows down digestion, so it's going to balance out your blood sugar pretty quickly. Not quickly, but over a long period of time. If you eat protein throughout the day, it's going to your blood glucose and your blood sugar levels are going to stay pretty consistent. They're just going to like fall and drop depending on glucose intake and glucose use, but protein consumption balances it out very easily, and it's going to keep it steady, which is a good thing, which is healthy. If you keep it within a healthy range for a long time, good. Keep doing that, okay? Protein is very essential for bone health because obviously bone tissue is built with protein. There you go. And it also aids in the calcium absorption in those bones to make them stronger. So eating more protein means bones don't break as easily. They're stronger. They're more tight. Like a family, like Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious. Protein is also essential for immune function. You eat more protein, you are able to produce more antibodies and immune cells that combat diseases. So someone like, I attest this because I am someone who doesn't usually get sick. I don't usually get a lot of colds, which is ironic because I kind of have one now. A little bit of one. I don't know, it's weird. But also when I am sick, I don't, you know how people like get, one of my friends called it like the North American man cold, where like people get like white dudes in North America, like as soon as they get a cold, the world is ending. But I feel like I don't feel when I ever do get sick, I don't feel like I'm incredibly sick, if that makes sense. Like I know I have the symptoms, but I'm not like dying. I'm just fine. Well, not fine, but obviously I'm a little bit sick, but you don't feel it as much because your body is able to produce. I'm also going to say this. I don't know if it's because I eat a lot of protein, but all I'm saying is I know I eat a lot more protein than a lot of people that I know. So that, look, correlation doesn't always equal causation, but I'm just saying there also is studies to prove that like the more protein people eat, the better their body is at producing antibodies. So anyway, Protein is also vital for hair, skin, and nail health. I don't know if you've heard about people who eat a lot of protein, their nails grow really quickly. Mine do that. I do. I'm not going to show you my nails because that's, you're going to pay for that content. Why do I say things? No, that's not, don't look that up. That's not a real thing. But also my hair and my skin, like when you get scabs and stuff like that, if you eat a lot of protein, yours the scabbing and stuff like that is gonna come quicker, and your skin will heal quicker. That is proven, because your body is being able to produce skin cells and repair the tissue quicker, because you're consuming more protein. So it's utilizing it. Protein utilization is key. Also, if you want to live longer and live healthier and not be so frail, aka you don't want to get sarcopenia, because sarcopenia is age-related muscle loss. Protein. Eat protein. Higher protein consumption in adults going into the elderly has proven to just hinder sarcopenia from happening for the most part. And also, if you have sarcopenia, higher protein diets can help aid in reducing the effects that you feel, like the ailments that we feel from getting sarcopenia. So I urge you, if you have elderly grandparents, if you don't have elderly grandparents, I'll be confused, because you have adult grandparents. Urge them to eat more protein, because they don't need as much because they're old and frail. So just urge them to eat a little bit more protein each day, and it will help them, obviously. Also, along with slight bouts of exercise. That's a different episode, but focusing on those things will help prevent sarcopenia when you're older. If you don't want to be bedridden when you're older, eat protein now, and eat it a lot for a long period of time. Because I don't want to be one of those people who's old and just is laying in bed and they can't do anything because their bones and muscles are so weak. So that's why I work out and protein. Eat protein. I hate myself. Why am I recording myself saying it like that? Anyway, okay. It's because I've been hanging out with. Anyway. This is really funny to me, because I know why I say it and I know why I do it, but I also know that it's weird to do, especially when I'm in a room by myself, talking to my phone. Anyway, I need to go eat, dude. Anyway, I'm going to see my friend's, what's it called? Open mic. It's like a stand-up, open mic thing. She's so funny. Callie Wakasta. I really hope I said your name right. Last name right, I'm sorry. I actually was on her podcast as well, Two Truths and a Lie. If you want to go on that. That's more of a comedy podcast. I'm a little bit of a funny guy. She wanted me on it. Subtle flex. Anyway. She's also doing an open mic, so I need to go eat and shower, because I don't want to be stinky. So I have an hour and a half to do that, but plenty of time. I don't know why I'm just telling you this, because we're friends, I guess. You and me specifically. I'm looking directly at you. If we're not friends, though, then we're not friends. But I'm friends with everybody, so that's fine. Anyway, those are all the health benefits. Those are all the benefits of protein. Not all the benefits, but those are just the ones that I was bothered to write down. No, I'm kidding. They're just the ones that I felt like were most important to tell and to share. There's so many more. If you search it up, you can just go into Google Scholar, search up protein, and there will be literally probably over 1 million articles. I don't know about 1 million, but hundreds of thousands of articles. And then if you just search up benefits of protein, there's going to be plenty on Google, whatever you want to do. I don't like the recommendations, so I'm going to tell you my recommendations for optimal uses of protein and why I think that it's best. Okay, so having at least 0.6 per pound of body weight, or 1.2 to 1.5 per kilogram of body weight, because that's what's been shown to build muscle. Build or maintain muscle is that as a minimum. And then the more you eat, there's more benefits, but it's like it's a curve. So it goes up like this. It's the highest at 1.2, and then it's only slightly increases the more you eat. I personally eat like a pound, hello, 1 gram per pound. So I eat roughly 200 to 210. I'm actually 215, but anyway, 215. I try to eat. If I get to like 220, then I'm really set. Anything more than that is just a bonus. But yeah, the benefits kind of diminish as you get closer to 1. And once you hit 1, the more you eat over that is kind of just precautionary, and there isn't shown many more benefits. But once you hit that, that's where all the maximum benefits are. That's what I recommend. But at least 0.6 is where you're gonna get the benefits. That's where you're gonna get a lot of the benefits. So, and it's not hard to get that amount of protein, and I don't want to hear that it is, because it's not. If you're 200 pounds and you struggle to get 120 grams of protein in, I'm sorry, but you have an issue. You need to change something, because that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. But it's really not hard to get that much protein, especially if you just have three meals. You can have 2 meals, 3 meals. All that matters is you get it in a day. Your whole day, your protein intake in a day is what matters, compared to, it's the same as creatine. Is it more beneficial after a workout to take it kind of, if you take it with a carb source, because it's going to help funnel it into the muscles quicker? But that's also not as important. You just want to make sure you get a protein dense meal in 2 to 3 hours after a workout. And it's going to be pretty hard to, you want to focus on that. You also don't want to, another main thing is you don't want your pre-workout and post-workout meals to be spaced out by more than 6 hours, because that's when there can be injury risks. You're not going to get injured, but you won't get as much recovery. So the recovery benefits are within that window. And it still doesn't matter entirely. You're just going to get more if you stay within that window, if that makes sense. So try to stay in that window. Try to get as much protein as you can from high quality sources. So meat, eggs, whey, fish. Yeah. Is that it? There might be one more. Anyway, but those are the big ones that you want to focus on. Dairy. I forgot one. If you get 120 grams from these sources, that's really good. And then trace grams of protein from other things. There's like protein in bread, there's protein in rice, there's protein in peanut butter, there's protein in nuts, whatever. At least 120 grams from these, and you're really, really good. If you get 120 grams from all of it, then that's not as ideal, but it's still good. But the more high quality protein you get in a day, A, it's really hard to overeat on those things. And B, you're just gonna be able to maintain as much muscle as you can, because your body's getting complete proteins, because complete proteins are proteins that contain all 9 essential amino acids. And then there's non-essential amino acids as well. These ones help you get that, especially red meat that gets you leucine, all creatine, all the good stuff. So all those are good ways of getting in protein. Whey protein shakes, whey isolate, doesn't really matter. Casein isn't as good in terms of its digestibility. I really like isolate because it's really good. It's good on the gut. It's not hard to digest because it's just an isolate of the protein and there's no additives or nothing like that. Casein is good at night, I guess. It's slower digesting, but it's also very heavily whey based, which is milk. So I personally just don't like it. If you like casein, go for it. It's also really good for baking. There you go. But I've made these protein pancakes recently. They're so good. It's like in a bowl. It's easy. It's like 2 minutes. Chuck some Greek yogurt on top, peanut butter. Gas. Okay, it's like 6 grams of protein. It's pretty high. It's decently high in calorie, for me at least. It's like nearly 800 calories for like 6 grams of protein, which I usually like a 1-to-1, but I'm also trying to get out of that phase. So I'm also using that to accept eating higher calorie things because I want to eat more calories so I feel better. Anyway, another tangent. If you're trying to lose weight, or if you really struggle with satiety in the morning or satiety throughout the day, eating a high protein meal when you wake up, not as soon as you wake up, but like in the morning as like your very first meal, that's really going to help with keeping hunger regulated, and it's going to keep your hunger hormones regulated, and it's really going to help you maintain your diet if you're doing that, if you're trying to diet down. So a 50, 60 or above protein meal, 50 to 60 gram of protein meal is really going to keep you full for a while, at least 4 to 6 hours, probably, depending on you. It could keep you up for longer if you want to. If it doesn't keep you as full, up the protein, it'll keep you full for longer. I was gonna say something else, but then I really forgot. Oh, also, another one of the myths that I want to get rid of right now. You can only digest 30 grams of protein per meal. That's a lie. There's been studies where you can utilize at over 100 grams of protein in a meal. It's just the amount of protein. If you eat protein, you're gonna utilize it. It's just gonna be. If you eat 100 grams, you're not gonna utilize 100 grams in 20 minutes. You're gonna use it throughout the day. It's just gonna keep getting just broken down. So that's okay. That's a thing. You can't, if you eat 60 grams of protein, 30 grams of it just doesn't go to waste. That's just not thermodynamics. That doesn't make sense. Gonna get rid of that right now. Anyway. And again, after a workout, if you pair it with a carb source, 2-to-1 ratio of carb to protein, that's been shown to increase muscle recovery and muscle protein synthesis. Hello. So you doing that and utilizing those protocols will benefit you. That's it from me. I love you. Again, protein is not the end-all be-all for fixing things, but everything that I just listed are only a quarter of the benefits. Probably more than that. I probably covered a lot. But having a high protein diet is only beneficial, really. Especially for people who work out, obviously. But just in general, even if you don't work out, it's going to help you function better as a person. So do that. Anyway, I gotta get going. So I can stop. Okay, I'll stay for a little bit longer. I'm kidding. I love you. But I really appreciate all the support again. You guys are awesome. You guys are fantastic. You guys are the best. I love you. I love protein. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.